Hey everyone, it is June 30th, about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the 4-hour chart of Bitcoin, BTC, USDT on the BTC USD on the Bitfinex exchange. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, so first of all, the video is not investment advice. Second of all, I kind of left a bearish overtone with my prior video, right? I did think we were going to head lower, and we obviously changed direction overnight. I put a comment in the comment section on my YouTube video updating that I definitely think like we're going to have a little rally here based on the push. Now, I commented as during the first bar, and I did not see the second bar. I ended up going to sleep, and then that was it. Now, from the looks of it, based on what we've seen, we've smashed through the downtrend line. We've retested the 6,400 bottom, okay? As of now, and we've had a pretty nice increase in volume, although it's not as big as previous runs, it's still been a nice increase that has been sustained. So given all that, so far it looks like Bitcoin more than likely has some more upside to it. I think as long as we're able to break above about 6,400, which is the prior base before the big run right here, the first target that I could see Bitcoin rising to is about 68.50 or so. And depending on what price does there will ultimately determine the overall tone of the market. So if we fail here and start to head back down, that's obviously a big red flag that this was just clearly just a giant stop breaker for shorts to entice longs to jump into the market and then sell right into them, causing panic as sentiment gets bullish, and that panic leads to a lower low. If not, we break above this zone, this is the next target zone for Bitcoin to go to. However, one thing I want to say is that I definitely emphasize caution for anybody playing in this market. We've seen this multiple times. You know, it's like you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And people have been duped in Bitcoin more than that. We've had like 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. This would be the 5th one as we topple over completely. 6, 7. This is another little one. 8, 9. I mean, there's like 9 times, and I'm not even breaking down even the smaller moves to where people got tossed around, okay? We've seen this continuous pop in price to try to entice longs back into this market just to slaughter them every single time. Now, the Guppy rallies are getting smaller, okay? And I don't mean the bubble. Well, the bubble is definitely a Guppy rally. This is like the pinnacle of Guppy rallies when everybody gets suckered into it and just making insane decisions. But the moves up have been getting smaller and smaller, and we have a consistent history of toppling over. We broke to a new low for the year, okay? If this was the bottom, I think we would have seen volume test 9, 10, 11, 12 billion. We didn't even get to that. We barely spiked up. On the second bar, we started to spike up throughout the night in the morning. From what I saw early morning was that we were able to kind of peak around the 5 billion range just for a little bit, and then started to peak right under. So that's okay. Understand that the prior moves easily exceeded that. This was like a 9 billion, almost. I think it almost got up to about 10 billion within that range. And then the prior ones to that were like 6, 7, 8 billion in 24-hour volume during those spikes. So there was a lot more price action within those time frames during these runs, and they sustained that volume and even increased along the way up. What we've been seeing here is that as price is increasing in Bitcoin, volume is decreasing, meaning less are whoever is manufacturing it, whether it's one person, multiple people, they are exiting that market, and the smaller money's coming in, but there's not enough of them to sustain the avalanche which we've had since May 5th. So yes, there are going to be relief rallies along the way. They're going to catch you off surprise. In a bear market, or even in a bear market, there's still money to be made during these pops, during these small runs. I do not think this is the bottom for Bitcoin. I do think on the, let's say longer term picture, but let me say like within a month or so, that's like long term for Bitcoin, for as far as I'm gonna go at least. That I think we definitely have more downside. And I think this is definitely a Guppy rally, but it's also a relief rally at the same time too. So this is the first price target. We'll see how price reacts there. If it's unable to break above that range, then we are going to progress downward like we've seen in the past for Bitcoin in just this nice down slide, lower and lower and lower. If we break above that zone, we are still going to have a sustained run, but I definitely think we're going to start to get toppy in this run outside of this range up here, meaning that I would start to look for the market to topple over and then progress back downward toward 57.50 or even lower. And I do think if we topple over and start to head back down toward 57.50, we will bust through that zone and migrate much lower. And if the fives get taken out, we could go significantly lower than that. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That's like fortune telling, and I'm not into that stuff. So I've already seen some of the bullish sentiment start to pick back up. I started scrolling through YouTube when I was looking, just, you know, the videos pop up in your feed and stuff now. And I saw somebody post like a brand new video, 35,000 by the year end. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of insanity in this market, and that is insane. For anyone to predict a price higher than the previous high is absolutely insane. And at that moment, you're just fortune telling. And you might as well just tell people that aliens are coming to invade the planet and everyone who has Bitcoin will be saved. And in that analysis, it makes logical sense when you start spewing out numbers well beyond this top right here at about 68.50. Because if we can't break above 68.50, guess what? This market is telling you that there's no demand for price beyond that zone. If there's no demand for price beyond that zone, what makes you think it's going to go higher? You know what I'm saying? Like it's absolutely insanity. And I try to keep that hype out of these videos. And I don't mean to like beat up people, like, you know, for whatever videos I know they're doing it for followers. I know they're doing it just to entice people to click. It's clickbait central, but it leads to irrational decisions. It leads to people thinking they're going to become mega rich very fast in this market, and we've already seen the aftermath of that. Okay, I know people that have bought in this area, and they got absolutely wrecked hanging on. And who knows, maybe one day we do return, but that hype, that like insanity, leads to irrational behavior, leads to people doing really stupid things. So I hope that, you know, if you are watching videos like that, just understand that you need to step back and kind of look at it from a logical perspective, just on supply and demand. Just keep things simple. Keep it simple, keep it stupid, you know, like KISS is the acronym, keep it simple, stupid. Because when you start trying to project way out into the future and project these crazy McAfee numbers, you are going to make irrational decisions, as in going in 100% at a certain level, like here, saying that's it. Everybody else is saying it's going up, it's going to the moon. I'm going to become mega rich. And we could definitely have more downside, as we've seen in the chart. I mean, the chart is showing that to everybody ever since the bubble top. The pops back up are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and we're struggling. We're struggling here in this market. There's an absolute struggle. There's nothing screaming bull at all in this chart, you know? So I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to like strike fear into people or anything like that. There's money to be made either direction, whether you want to buy, whether you want to short, doesn't matter. But just keep it logical, right? Just keep it logical. That's the best thing. That's the best piece of advice I think I can give everybody. I never walked into a room and learned from a top trader and they were like, okay, well, guess what? Apple, we're projecting Apple's going to be like 7,000 by the year end, so we're just going to dump all our clients' money. Like never, ever did I hear wild and crazy crap like that. Even if they thought Apple was going to go to 7,000 or some wild and crazy number, like there were steps that have to be met, requirements that have to be met for these things to occur. And when you start to see these videos and these articles and these analysts pop up on like CNBC and other mainstream networks, and they're just spewing out numbers and they're not talking about certain requirements that have to be met people just gravitate to that crazy number and just think like, okay, that's it. It's the bottom. It's skyrocketing up. We've seen the aftermath of it, you know? So I don't mean to go off on a tangent there, but I just, it infuriates me because I know people that got caught up in it. I know people that are still getting caught up into it, and they're paying the price for it, and it's unfortunate, you know? So keep it logical. Use an investment strategy. Stop loss strategy is what I mean by that. Always have a stop loss in place. Whether you want it deep or shallow, does not matter. Have something in place to protect yourself. I think that's the best piece of advice I could give to anybody out there. In some assets you can definitely ride without stops, but I leave that specifically for like the stock market, sometimes commodities, depending on where we're at in those zones. But with something that's fresh, something that has so much volatility to where you could endure a 20, 30, 40% drop in your asset, you definitely want to use stops, right? Especially for the alts out there. So anyways, I'm gonna end the video here. Don't mean to ramble on. I doubt many people are gonna follow through listening to the whole thing. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. I'll produce another video tomorrow evening. As of now, again, in a nutshell, things are looking positive for Bitcoin on a very short-term time frame. Not on the long-term time frame. Definitely does not look positive unless we get a mega wave of volume. If you've not joined the Slack channel, there's over like 350 members there. It's a really nice community. It's cryptocurrency oriented. People share news, charts, their own analysis. It's just a nice, friendly community to be a part of. And if you're looking for something more in depth where I talk about specific price points, stops, buy zones, and so forth, I do provide that analysis on Bitcoin, various alts, stocks, commodities, some Forex as well, but I try to stay out of the Forex. I just pay attention to it because it does interlink with the stock market and commodities as well. So if you want to learn more about that and you want the link to the Slack channel, visit my site, geometriccharts.com. Other than that, everybody have a great day, great night.